What's going on? It's Newbie here, and welcome back to another Newbie cast, first one of 2011. So happy new year to everybody. And today I'm bringing you a 1 versus 1, and it is a Protoss versus Protoss. I'm spawning down the left hand side of teh n00bie Caverns as the red Protoss, and my opponent Daniel is spawning at the top right as the blue Protoss. Now, I've been playing a lot of 1v1 with Zerg on my newbie account, and I have been getting absolutely raped on the ladder, so I decided to play a little bit of Protoss just to chill out and practice foregating, because I'd never actually managed to, well, it's not that I never managed to do it, it's just I've never bothered to learn how to foregate, so this is my attempt at a foregate. So spoiler alert, you know how this game is going to go. So I popped down my 9 pylon as usual, and I think my opponent did pretty much the same. Now this is where my build differs. I usually go 13 gate. Now I went 12 gate as that is the hip in thing to do when you're going to foregate. Is you get those probes out to 12 and then you save up and then you get your gateway. But I was too busy dicking about with my probe here. I completely forgot about getting my gateway, but the important part is to get that proxy pylon up, which I do place up here in just a second. Obviously not now, because that would be too over eager. Come on, place a pylon, don't make me look like a dick. There we go. So nothing too crazy going on from my opponent. He's just getting 2 gateways out with no cryogenics, so he's not going to be ARP ready very soon. Although if he did put a gateway down, he would for sure. Get your gas on 14 for this strategy, and once this gateway is done you should be about 16 probes, so you pop down your next pylon and get up to 18 probes, and once you're at 18 probes you pop down your cybernetics core, and then that's when you cut probe production altogether. You have enough probes. So there's me 18, go on, cybernetics. There we go. Cybernetics core on the way. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. No, it's not. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. There we go. On 17 apparently, because 18's not good enough. Throwing down an extra gateway, and this is at the point where you just pop down gateways as soon as you have the minerals for them. I decided to do a concave walling so that if he did run up with a lot of zealots, which I figured he might because he got these 2 gateways first, if I have a couple of stalkers and a sentry, I can force field here while all his zealots are in here, and they just get roasted from the pew pew. So my opponent's continuing to pump out zealots, so he's going very zealot heavy, and there's me just getting my 4th gateway down now, and I should have both gases mining. So far so good. No warp gate technology on the way just yet, and it is just starting out. That was a huge blunder. That is one of the things you need to get out right away. So that was a whole zealot I managed to get. So I'm just getting a couple of zealots out just to help hold the fort just now, but my opponent is now moving out with a force of 5 zealots, which is going to be pretty tough to defend with 3 zealots and a stalker. Chrono boosting out that warp gate technology. Now, one thing I will say is my opponent, while he's attacking, he's not expanding, he is not doing anything, he's got no gas, he is just running on in. He is chrono boosting all of these, and they're not even building anything. So that is a bit of a blunder. So he's obviously going mass zealot. Now these zealots coming in, oh, I'll go back a little bit because I missed that. Now I did manage to get a sentry out, which was, I felt was the most important thing for me to do right now. And now I do see these zealots come in, and I go bam, get a force field, hold a few of them out so that I can take these guys on. The stalker comes out just in time to help deal with these 2 zealots. This stalker should never have died as much as he did, so he got annihilated. I don't know why I ran into them, that is probably the worst thing I could have done. But now getting out some extra zealots while I'm waiting on my warp tech. Now this was this was another mistake by my opponent. He should have gone for my mineral line, but instead, the next best option, I guess, is to go for this pylon. But I do manage to get out these 3 zealots before he kills it. That was very lucky. So I should be able to clean this up fairly convincingly. And this probe is going to replace that pylon and we'll be good to go. Now, the one thing I've noticed, when you get your buildings depowered like I just did, your research doesn't disappear. So all I need to do now is power up this gate and then I am good to go. I should have my warp gate technology. So if we look at units lost, I don't know the tab for that, units lost, my opponent is actually ahead, but income, oh, is even, but I am ahead in harvester, so he is technically behind, as I now have my 4 warp gates, and he is still stuck on zealots, still going heavy zealot, which I don't understand why. He's still got no gas and he's only got a handful of probes. So he was hopefully, well, I'm guessing he was hoping to end the game with some zealot push, but it didn't happen as I was able to defend. Now moving out with my first wave of warped in units. My weak zealots they're weak, but hey, what can you do? Finally, my opponent is getting his gas at the 8.5 minute mark, which is just ludicrous, getting his second gas as well. And queuing up a bunch of probes, so he's finally starting to learn, making use of this before placed, this pylon I placed earlier to get those units in super fast. Now I did go zealot heavy, stalker heavy, because I knew he had a lot of zealots and I had a feeling he still had a lot of zealots, so all it takes is a little micro on my part not to lose any of these guys. Trying to get my zealots in front to hold these guys in place, but it doesn't seem to happen that way. I think it does here, but I didn't really care. I was just having a blast microing these stalkers. Boom, 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 boom. You'd think if I was him, I would have pulled back all of these zealots before they all died, because I was never catching these stalkers. He's getting a few pop shots off here and there, but he's not even breaking my shields. So he's only got, he's got 1,000 minerals. Now I don't know what he's playing at now. He's still not got any gas, so he should really be producing some more zealots. I don't know, I think he was maybe trying to micro these zealots in it, so I decided to get some sentries out so I don't have to do the run and gun. I could just hold these dudes in place. But here we go. Now this is where I figured out that you can't shift click the force fields because it doesn't work like that. And yeah, so you learn something new every day. All you need to do is hold the F key and spam away all your force fields until your energy is used up or you think you've got enough of the force fields. So now I'm in his base, wrecking his stuff. Still getting zealots, which I don't agree with whatsoever, because they are just all running in and getting taken out. As you see now, I do see this. I do see him make his probes make a run for it. He's obviously trying to get out of his base, but I don't worry about it because I have discovered my new awesome force field micro, and there we go. Those guys are not going anywhere. So that is one of, I think that was what won the game for me sooner than it did, because he had a lot of minerals. He could have gone and he rebuilt, and I could have taken ages to find them and whatnot. Could have just placed up a bunch of cannons, so I was making sure to not let anything out of his base. As you see, he's trying to get these probes out of his base, but it is never going to happen, so I get a decent surround on his nexus right here. I've no idea why I'm doing that. I'm just moving and shooting. I was having fun microing. Let's see, my APM is at 51. Oh yeah! It's not exactly pro, and that probe almost made, oh, he almost made it, but another force field and he was going nowhere. So I do decide to just start to clean this up. So I was just wanting to demonstrate how powerful a 4-gate is, especially if your opponent goes very early aggression with a lot of units and you manage to hold it off. You are pretty much guaranteed the win, because you're going to be ahead in economy, you're going to be ahead in units, and yeah, so there was another game like this. It was against the Terran and it went pretty much the same way. I was going to cast it, but I don't see the point in casting the same thing twice in a row. So, sorry, I was adjusting myself in my chair right there. Now, I don't know what my opponent's holding on for. He's got no probes, no nothing. And it's like he's only just realised, oh wait, my Nexus got any left, no GG, which is, of course, the bad manner standard of the Bronze League. There's never a GG. But yeah, so that was awesome. If you play Protoss and you don't know how to 4-gate, I suggest you go and learn how to 4-gate, because it is an awesome tool to have. The only one thing different you should do is put this pylon behind the building and you will be sweet as a nut, as they say. And always remember your proxy pylon somewhere that they're not going to find it, because I did play a game on this map earlier on the same day, and I put my, where did I put my pylon? I put it next to the Zelnaga tower here, and the mapping path of a probe, if you just click your probe and go scout down here, the probe will automatically take that path down that way, so your pylon will be spotted. So you want to put it up at this top right, because the probes don't go around this way. You can even put it here and they would never see it. But I was playing it safe this time, put it up behind the bushes to warp in these units super fast. Now, I'm sorry to keep waffling on, but another thing I will say is if you are doing this 4-gate early pressure, only do 2 to 3 waves of units, and if you can't win the game with that, you take what units you have, you go back and you defend, you get yourself an expansion and you start to play the mid game, because if you don't break it with 3 waves, you're never going to break it. So cut your losses and get the hell out of dodge, because you don't want to lose the game trying to early pressure. So that's enough for me, and I will hopefully be casting a lot more this year. It's one of my resolutions, but I suck at resolutions, so I will probably be casting as often as I am right now, which isn't very. So I apologise for that, but I will try. So anyway, that's enough for me, and I will, yeah. So yeah, cheerio.